It feels good to be back and back on time. Our regularly scheduled program is now set in stone. Good morning, all my Tuesday listeners. This podcast here has been specially crafted for all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome back to another episode of My Honest Take. This is the only podcast that matters and the only pod you'll ever need with your host, Quincy. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your Tuesday. I like how we just went from Mondays like it was nobody's favorite day of the week to, all right, let's switch it to Tuesdays, some people's favorite day of the week. Not everybody's a Tuesday guy, Me personally, I like Tuesdays. It's better than Monday because Monday's like that's the start of your day. If it's bad, it could ruin it. You know what I mean? Like it could ruin your whole week. But if your Monday's good, it's like okay, the whole week could be good. Tuesday's one of those. It's not hump day, right? Not the middle ground, but Tuesday's one of those like okay, if you have a bad Monday, Tuesday's the redeeming day, right? And if you have a good Monday, Tuesday just it's like a bonus, if that makes sense. Like it's like one of those bonus days where it's like, all right, Monday was great. Now Tuesday's about to be great too. Like Tuesday's underrated. I really like Tuesdays, okay? Because every other day has its perk. Like Wednesday's hump day. It's the middle of the week. You're almost over. Thursday's like the pre-Friday. That's what everybody says. So you're getting excited. And Friday's Friday. That's the day that everybody's like, yeah, it's time to turn up. Saturday, of course, is the weekend. That's when you are turning up. You know what I mean? And then Sunday's like that day where it's like, yeah, it's cool, but I gotta go to work on Monday, and I gotta go to school on Monday, and that's why Monday gets such that bad rep. You know what I'm saying? So Tuesday, I felt like was the middle ground for y'all. I felt like Tuesday was perfect, and we're about to see. So far, you guys been showing love, so I do appreciate each and every single one of you guys for showing love always to the podcast. Remember to continue to like, rate, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you guys want to hear next from me when it comes to the podcast. We talk about everything here and we do not sugarcoat anything. That's why the podcast has been called My Honest Take and is going to continue being My Honest Take. So, before the formalities out the way, party people, let's get right into it. So, let's just address the elephant in the room. I mean, most of you guys probably see the title already. If you're not seeing the title and you're just going in here blind, I appreciate you. You're going to be in for a shocker if you didn't know this already. But it was trending news worldwide, damn near, even by the government officials. So now you're thinking, what can really be trending this hard? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we had a passing of a very outspoken individual by the name of Charlie Kirk. Okay. Now, Charlie Kirk, I'm not going to get all into politics. As you guys know, that's not something I do here on the podcast, whatever your political belief, even with religion beliefs, when it comes to preferences on what you eat, beliefs, whatever it is, that's your belief. You believe it the way you want to. I'm not going to judge you or tell you that you can't. All right. We don't talk about that. All right. Now, if it makes no sense, I will tell you why. And if you can clarify it, then cool. But I'm not going to be here saying, oh, well, this guy was this is why. I don't got time for all that. All we need to know is that people are saying he was what a conservatorist or extremist and political views were out of this world. It's he had a lot going for him when it came to that uh connotation right on him. Now, how would I describe him for people like me, right? People who just need to know simple words. All right, let's make it simple. He was someone who was very outspoken with what he said, and some of the takes he said it didn't make sense, or it was like I don't know about that one, Charlie. I don't know if that's the best take you should say. He's one of those people where you're like, maybe you should stop talking. Okay. So that's the best way to describe it. Okay. A few quick takes you could probably get is like, when it came to the African Americans, right? When it came to us, he would say things like, well, black on black crime is the most leading cause of death in the black community. Well, did you know breakings and all that happen a lot amongst the black community too? Like he'll say things that it makes sense, but he's delivering the wrong tone with it, right? Or he'll say things in the sense of, hey, do you think our Second Amendment right for the right to bear arms should that be abolished, right? And he'll say something like, you know, no, if people have to die for us to keep our Second Amendment right, then hey, that's the price we have to pay. Right? He'll say takes like that. All right. And that take I bring up because it just so happens that Charlie Kirk was, in theory, if we just state it how it is, assassinated um, by a 22-year-old, apparently. Wow. Okay. Yeah, let's just take the band aid off. Y'all know we don't sugarcoat nothing. We just got to tell it how it is. Yeah, so he was assassinated. Um, wow. That's why I bring up the take because you just died by your own belief, right? Now this is you could say, well, a lot of people die by their own beliefs, right? Like that's what happens in life. People, stand for something, and the outcome can be death, right? But when it's an outcome like this, where it's like, yo, it's as simple as just getting some type of gun control, and you die to violence because of lack of gun control, that's just like a cherry on top, right? Where it's like, if you didn't like him already and you saw this, you're like, this is it. I'm happy now. Even though some people will say, hey, we shouldn't celebrate people's deaths. People will tell you that we shouldn't celebrate people's deaths. This is a person who had a family, kids, is living over, leaving a wife, alone, kids or daughters. Like, we shouldn't be celebrating this. But the thing that always gets me with things like that is we could celebrate other people's deaths, and you could say, well, the thing they did or the reason why we're celebrating it is different from him. He just had really bad takes. We shouldn't celebrate that. It's like, yeah, but we've seen people celebrate things for even more stupid reasons, right? Now, like I said, let's try to backtrack and focus back on the main thing here. So he goes to a campus, I believe it was in Utah, if I'm not mistaken, ends up doing what he always does best. If you don't know him, he goes to mainly college campuses, universities, and debates with the students, about anything from religion to black on black crime, from white crime to conservatives to religion to um, ideologies, things like that. He just debates with these students, right? To see who's really thinking the way they should be thinking, okay? Now, this fateful day, he goes to this school, and like I said, you would think it's just a normal day. And here's the thing that's also funny about this whole situation. Someone in the crowd, I don't believe it was a student. It may have been just someone else who just wanted to ask a question, but it could have been a student. I don't know for sure. But they asked a question about um something about like it wasn't the Second Amendment thing, but it was another question about like gun control or something like that, right? And here's the thing that's crazy about it, okay? They asked this question to him, propose like, hey, how many guns are lost in the city or something like that, right? And he answers the question, all right, boom, we're done, okay? Literally, right after that question, he puts the mic down and boom, gets shot into the neck. Now, this is one of those things where I'm like, Does my conspiracy hat come on for this? Do I really look into this as like maybe was this a setup? This is a hoax? What's the chances of someone asking something about, you know, guns and this is what happens? You know what I mean? Like, what's the chances of that? Think about it. Just out of the blue, someone asks, yeah, gun violence is very rampant, da 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 da. Okay, thank you for asking. Boom, shot. What? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. But like I said, when this happened, panic of course arises. Everybody's running. They put someone in handcuffs as he may be looking as the prime suspect, an older white guy. Okay. Now, race doesn't matter, but I just want to paint the picture for you. I'm someone who doesn't see race in a factor. If there's, hey, you killed a man, you killed a man. Don't matter. Yeah, I mean, it's death is death. No matter why you did it, no matter who you look like, what color your skin is, you killed him, you killed him. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it. But just to paint the picture, right? A white older male, okay? Probably someone who's in their what 50s, maybe 40s. 60s is pushing it, but I'll say late 50s maybe. And you're looking at like, huh? That's him? That's the guy? I don't know about that, but hey, okay, let's see. So we keep looking, and turns out that wasn't the guy. It was the 22-year-old that we ended up seeing, who, of course, people was saying also Democrat. It's like I said, they made it a whole thing with Democrats and Republicans. But if you wanted to, I believe they said he was a Republican anyway, so they were wrong there. But we ended up seeing, what happened, and he's not communicating or cooperating, so we don't know what's the motives behind it. But this just goes to show people, yes, in America we have freedom of speech. We do. You can say whatever you would like. You can. There's no consequence to what you say. To an extent. To an extent. And the reason I say that is because you can say whatever, but there's always going to be consequences for every action. Okay? You can say whatever you want, but there's consequences to every action. It's cause and effect. Things can always have an effect. And in today's age, it feels like the effects are always a little amplified, if that makes sense. Like it's deadly, to say the least, because now it's like, damn, should people even talk and say what they want? Like, for example, me, shit, I ain't gonna lie, I don't think I'll never take this podcast live outside. I'll be damned. No, no. Y'all hear the takes I be saying. Y'all know I try to keep it civil. I don't give a damn. I'm gonna speak the truth, but I try to make sure I'm teetering on the edge of what is allowed to say without offending everybody too much. Because not everybody's not gonna agree with me on these takes. I know that. I'm prepared for that. But shit, I feel like now if I go ahead and do it outside now, people just gonna have to try to shoot me just for saying, hey, I ain't gonna lie, I don't think McDonald's got the best fries. Now I'm on a t-shirt. This is, it's not even funny, but it's real talk, people. It's one of those things where now people are gonna be scared to just speak. And that shouldn't be an issue. Like, that shouldn't be a thing. People shouldn't be scared to say what's on their mind and be scared of retaliation in the form of death. Retaliation getting, stuck in the mouth. Okay, cool, you got punched. Well, watch your mouth. You know what I mean? But goddamn, now I'm getting shot for just saying that. It's it's the world we live in, man. You know, and as much as we could say we love America, as much as we could say, America, one of the best places on earth, it constantly slips down in the rankings because if you didn't know, America has now dropped to, I believe, 128 out of all countries in the most peaceful places to live. Yeah, United States dropped all the way 128. I believe we were in like the top 50s or something before this bullshit. But now we just been dropping drastically, and now we are 128. To put that in perspective, Russia's 163, and they're the bottom. Russia's 163, and they're the bottom, people. Think about that for a second. And we're what, 40, 40, 30 places next to them? That's insane. That is insane. So it just goes to show, I mean, Charlie Kirk is one of those examples where it's like, hey, you're going to say a lot of fucked up things, and eventually it's going to catch up with you. But for the people saying, like, oh, don't wish death on people, the people celebrating his death, oh, kiss my ass, you go to hell, da 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 da. Don't play innocent like you've never prayed for someone else to die, or you were excited when someone you didn't like passed away. You have to use your context. You got to use your context. Hey, for the people who celebrated his death, it's fucked up because all he had was bad takes. That's like, if you just added a little bit of more context to it, it sounds better. But instead, if you just generalize it, oh, people who celebrating his death, that's messed up. Because now people can hit you with, well, I celebrated Hitler's death. Well, that's two different things. Well, be specific. Be specific, brother. Be specific. So, like I said, it's one of those things where he is somebody that the government really did like when it comes to the takes and everything he said. And the reason why I say that is because it felt like they gave this man a whole army tribute when he passed away. Put him in the jet, not no Jet 2 holiday, but one of the Jet 2s or something like that. It was crazy. It was crazy. But hey, like I said, I mean, life is precious, man. Make sure you guys always be safe. Pay attention when you're walking out late at night. Pay attention to the things you might say. It doesn't mean you're scared. Doesn't mean you're pussy. Doesn't mean you're a bitch. If you're one of those people who's like, hey, I'm not going to say this. Or, hey, say it again. Nah, I'm not going to say it again. That don't make you scared. Nothing. Makes you smart. Not trying to live. I'm not going to put myself in a dumb situation. That's what people need to realize. You don't need to act tough all the time, people. It's like a switch when people say they got their work voice and their hood voice. Hey, thank you for calling. How can I help you? And yo, what up, Slime? How you doing? Two different voices. You know when to act hard and when not to act hard, people. So, like I said, I mean, rest in peace. My condolences to him. Like I said, I'm not going to just be rude and say forget him. I don't know him like that, so I'm not going to just instantly be rude to someone I don't really know. So, like I said, rest in peace and my condolences. But it's a spooky world out here, people. So just pay attention. Now, with the world being a spooky place, all right, it felt like this day when he passed away, things just started getting haywire. Like the things that started coming out was just like, what the fuck? Like these were one of those things where I felt like they had all this in a vault and they were just waiting to release it. That's what it felt like. Because the things that started coming out left and right after Charlie Kirk passed was very, and when I say very, people, very interesting. For example, we ended up seeing, literally, right after he passed, we ended up seeing probably a few minutes later that there was a shooting in Colorado. Now, this shooting in Colorado, okay, we ended up seeing the shooting with the church, right? Remember we talked about that. Man went to the church shooting. It was a hate crime, transphobia, and things like that. But it was a transgender who ended up shooting up the church, saying that, oh, who's your God now? Things like that. It was crazy, right? But it sucks because, being a Colorado native, shout out to all my people from Colorado, man. We already had to deal with Columbine. So for us to get more shootings now, it's like, God damn, can we not get another one, please? Right? Please, let's not get another one. But this was a school shooting in a school. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, can we go ahead and get that pulled up, please? Give us a second while we get this pulled up. I believe there was a few people that were actually left deceased from this shooting as well. Of course, we have your injuries as well, but I believe there was more than one individual that actually was injured. Um, but it's one of those things, people, where it's like, damn, another one, another one. The school shootings are starting to become, what's the word I'm looking for? It's starting to become something that people are numb to, and I'm gonna explain what I mean in a second, because I know hearing it, you're like, what? How you go? How can you be numb to that? What are you talking about? There's no way you could be numb to something like this. There's just no way. Well, like I said, I'm about to explain. So, oh, we did. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we actually did get it pulled up. So it looks like the actual shooter in this Colorado. It sucks. I gotta say massacre again for another school shooting, just because of just why I don't know, but it looks like three people were shot. With, let me see what we got. Yep, with one reportedly dead. Okay, now here's the part where, like I said, where I'm about to be like, this is the part where people become numb, because reading that, the first thing most people probably thought in their head was, okay, whew, okay, that's not too bad. Think about how bad that sounds already. Yeah, how many people died? Oh, just one. How many people shot? Three. Okay, that's not that bad. That's not that bad. That means that it's been worse. You see what I'm saying? Think about that. Like, this is something where people usually don't say that. We don't celebrate, oh, okay, only one person passing away. Like, that's not something to celebrate, but in today's age, this is something that gets celebrated. And that sucks. That really sucks. So, if we keep looking, right? Here's why I said it's one of those things where we become numb to it. So after we saw the Charlie Kirk death, announced as everywhere, boom, the media slowly pushes out the Colorado school shooting, right? And at first, people are outraged. See, why are we not talking about this? Why are we not covering school shootings? Why are we not talking about this? But we want to talk about Charlie Kirk, da 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 da, right? People, we have to America. We have to remember, this is America. Okay. If you're a celebrity or someone of high status, I've said this plenty of times before in all of my other podcasts. Please go check it out. If you have high status in this world, you will be talked about first before everyone. Okay. You will. It's just how it is. America, we crave that excitement, and we like to know what our favorite celebrities are up to every day. Did Kim Kardashian eat her raisin bran today? This simple shit. That's what we like, right? So they're always gonna get pushed to the forefront if you have that status. Okay, no matter who you are, if you just got that status, you're in the news. The school shootings now in America, we've seen so many shootings like this, from the Columbine, like I said, to ones in Texas, to ones in California, wherever it may be. We've seen so many that we've become numb to it. There's so many names of these school shootings that we've seen. There's so many movies and documentaries based off it. There's so many details that we already know that most people who are in the damn school don't even know. But we know that it got to a point where when we see it, it's not even like all right, oof, okay, this was crazy. No, it's just another day in America, another day in the office. That's what it's like. That's what it's like. So I wasn't surprised that it didn't get pushed to the front. I wasn't. This was one of those things where I was like, yeah, if you don't look for this, I have a feeling you might have been lost. Most of y'all just probably right now just heard that news of that school shooting. Most of y'all probably didn't even know. And I don't blame you. I can't be mad at you. Because I mean, look what happens. Like I said, there's school shootings every day, it feels like, and we only get to know about a select few. You know? So it's definitely something that needs to be fixed in America, right? And the biggest thing that everyone keeps saying is gun control. If you did not know, America is one of the most lax countries when it comes to gun control, like rights, because of that Second Amendment. It's hard to fight that Second Amendment and have control over guns. If you want to have control over guns, that Second Amendment has to be fixed, altered, or tweaked. And once you start trying to tweak all these amendments, people are going to start losing their mind thinking, okay, now they're going to take away all our rights, all of our amendments. Nah, you just got to tweak the ones that's bad. That's all you got to do. Tweak the ones that's not good. Once you tweak those, you got some nice stuff. You know what I mean? That's all y'all have to do. Is just tweak those amendments, and which is the second one the most, and you'll be all right. Places like Japan, North Korea, South Korea, you damn near can't even own a gun. Special permits. You know, places like Canada and things like that, you have to do yearly tests to make sure that you can still fire the gun, make sure you can still disarm a gun, reload the bullets correctly. Like things like that is something that seems so trivial here in America, where it's like, damn, all you have to do is just retest. It's like driving, getting your license renewed. It's the same thing. But in America, it's very, very different. And that's the thing that sucks, because each state is starting to allow different type of rules with these firearms that start to become like, in lamest terms, a mess. Florida, as we know, is its own country. They just allowed open carry everything. So at this point, shit, you don't even need to hide it. You could just have it out there in the open, and you're fine. This is the point where I'm trying to make, y'all. It, America, man, we are a funny country sometimes. Sometimes I laugh at the stuff we do, for real, because common sense is very uncommon sometimes. People, it really is. But truthfully, I pray for the kids involved. The families that were involved in this crisis and tragedy as well. Like I said, these school shootings should not be something that's so common that we look and say, okay, only one person died, we can rejoice. That's not right. That's not right, people. So hopefully, America can wake up and we get some type of change. But I'm not one person who, I don't hold my breath when it comes to these things. And it sucks. I know people will always tell me, well, you gotta have faith, man. When you have too much faith, eventually when it gets broken enough times, you don't want to have no more. You know? So it's just a fact. It's just a fact. And that's me being real with y'all, man. And I think eventually it's gonna be it's gonna be a point where nobody likes these rules at all. Literally nobody. Right now, there's just a few people who's like, nah, I don't like that. It's gonna get to a point where everyone's starting to just disagree with everything, and I won't blame them one bit. One bit. Now, I know we've been talking pretty sad about all the deaths and all that we've seen, but I feel like that's all you see nowadays. I feel like that's all you see, because we've also had another incident in South Carolina, but this one was with a black man. Like I said, I don't care about your color of skin, but I know a lot of people do. And this is just to give clarity to people, right? This man is in a train, right? Just sitting down in the seat, but you can tell in the video camera he don't look right. Like you can just tell. It's like this man doesn't look okay, right? He doesn't look like he's normal, if that makes sense. Okay? He's talking to himself. It just doesn't seem right. Like normal people will look at this and be like, yeah, this brother might be crazy. He might be crazy. That's how he looked. Like real talk. And he's sitting in his seat, and this girl walks onto the train as well. Okay. Now, apparently she's from the Ukraine. So she's Ukrainian. Okay. And she sits in front of him. Nothing's happening at first. It's just normal, right? From the camera, you can see. But then you end up seeing this guy reach into his pocket, jacket pocket, right? He ends up grabbing a knife. And you're like, what the, like, what's going on, right? The hell he grabbed this knife for? Well, he ends up grabbing this knife, okay? And out of nowhere, just slices this girl's throat. When I say disturbed was the only word I can use in that moment of seeing the video. It filled me with anger because it's just the fact that we live in a society today where the number one rule that people are taught is to mind your damn business. Nobody helped at all. Nobody tried to, hey, yo, cover your mouth. You know, okay, tighten this up. Nobody did nothing. Nobody grabbed the man. Yo, grab him. What the fuck happened? Nobody did nothing. And it's one of those things where I just look at it, I'm like, damn, if that's not the way everybody was taught, maybe somebody would have done something. But when you live in a world where, damn, I gotta be careful because if I do intervene, shit, that could be me right there too. And I can't blame you for thinking that. I can't. You intervene in the wrong situation, now you're the one on the t-shirt. So I can't be mad at people thinking that, but it just made me mad just seeing her just struggling there with no help. And it's crazier because goddamn, Ukraine already have enough, dude. She probably came here to get away from that shit. Fuck. And now she has to deal with that here of passing away here in America. It's one of those things, people, I tell y'all for real, where it really does make me question. It really makes me question people. And it really makes me question when will people what I can't even think of the words. Just when will people wake up and realize that America isn't what you think it is no more? This isn't home of the brave, land of the free and shit. No, it's worse, man. It's worse. So, like I said, it sucks that it felt like that whole day we had to pray for everyone. If you're a very religious person, you were in overdrive, and that's not even to be funny, but you were working overtime, man. So, shout out to y'all, but please, you guys gotta remember to just be safe nowadays, man. You have to be safe. It's mm, it's a world. It's a world. That's all I'm gonna say. It's a world we live in. But if you thought that was crazy, if you thought all that was crazy, let's make it a little more spicy, but a less sad, right? More of a yeah, we're doomed. um, if you don't know, NATO, bunch of countries pretty much signed articles and treaties and things saying like, hey, if they come after you, they have to come for all of us. Pretty much simple as that. One go to war, we all go to war. One get hit, we all gonna get hit because we're gonna slide together. We're gonna ride together. We're gonna die together. Simple as that, right? Um, here's the funny thing about what happened. So apparently, um, Russia ended up flying drones into, I believe, Ireland's restricted airspace, right? I don't even think it may have even been restricted. Just you're in Ireland's business, right? And our president really looks at it like a game, like they're in Ireland space. Oh wow, or something. So it was something dumb that he tweeted. But here's the part that's the kicker. People, Article 4 has been initiated. So, for my people who don't know what Article 4 means, being initiated, it pretty much means that we now have the right to go to Article 5. Article 4 has to be enacted before Article 5 can be enacted. That's what that means. Okay. That's exactly what that means. So Article 5 pretty much means that, or Article 4 I should say. And it was Poland, actually. I just got corrected. It was Poland. Poland's airspace. Um, this is the first time I believe they said two Article 4 has been announced in years. Years, okay? But what that pretty much means is that, hey, we're raising Article 4 because we may have to go to war. That's what that means. Article 4 means, hey, we might need you guys because something looks fishy, Or to go to Article 4, to give people more examples, would be like I said, what Russia did. You're in Poland's airspace. You're in their areas. You're probably stealing documents or looking and scanning things that you can try to invade or something like that. You're giving them a very uneasy feeling. So for them to go to Article 4 means that you really did something that they're like, hey, if something goes down, Article 5 is now ready to be launched. Everybody come do an attack. Now, that doesn't automatically mean World War III, we're doomed. No. What that means is that Article 5 is enacted, each country can still act independently to a degree. Meaning, if something happens and Germany says we're going to intervene, US can still wait. We don't need to intervene right away. Okay? If Germany says, like, look, I got this. Let me go be big, bro. Let me go take care of this, see what's going on. They can do that. But now if they get hit and now they on the ground tapping out, then it's like, all right, damn near everybody's going to come through and help. But that's what that means. Article 5 is just saying, hey, we can now attack. If you guys got me, let's go. That's what it means. So Article 4 doesn't mean we're in attack mode yet. But if you see Article 5 hit, wherever you at, just go ahead and get a basement. Make sure you purchase a basement and just sit there and wait for the nuclear fallout to end. Yeah, because at this point, I think each leader does not give a damn no more. I think I was very confident, like, yeah, nah, they wouldn't do no nuclear warfare. These people know we'll all die. No, at this point, I think they don't give a damn. I really don't think so. I think they'll just say fuck the world and blow everybody up. So, welcome to America. Welcome to the world. So, Article 4 being announced, yeah. Never thought I'd see that in my lifetime. We're definitely going to be in the history books, people. We're definitely going to be in the history books. This is amazing. But the history books is constantly changing because now aliens are about to start being the first forefront of these history books. We never used to see aliens in these books like that. Oh man, now we're about to see so much. You got people finding asteroids or little meteorites that fell in their backyard, and now it looks like some alien type venom symbiote creature that only needs sunlight to survive. It's moving like venom and shit. And he has it as a pet. The dude is using it as a pet. I believe he's from Venezuela or something like that, somewhere in the Portugal type area. And he's just using it as a pet. These people of Spanish and Hispanic descent do not give a damn. Me, it's going into the trash or I'm sending it straight to the lab. Give me money for it. Matter of fact, no. No. I can't do that. I'm going to have to keep it as a pet too. Nope. Because if I give it to the government, they're going to use it. And then we're going to start seeing venom walking around the world. We're going to have venomized soldiers. Hell no. I refuse. Venomized AI robots? Yeah, we're doomed. We're doomed. No, he has the right idea. Just keep it. Keep it as a pet. Yeah. I'm telling you, go look at the video. I believe it's real. If it's not, then hey, I was wrong. But it looked real, man. This shit, bruh, what the hell? And then you got the U.S. government shooting an unidentified flying object, aka a UFO, with a damn missile, and it did nothing. It kept flying like nothing happened. We're doomed. Like nothing happened. It just shrugged it off and kept moving. It didn't even slow down. I think it sped up. And the problem with this, now we're the enemy. Because why would we do that? Why would we attack first? Now they have a reason to come probe our ass. Now we're doomed. We're done. I'm telling you, 2025 has been a movie. It has been a movie. We're in for a treat. We are in for a treat. Hey, look, just hold your loved ones close because it's going to be a doozy. It's gonna be a doozy. Now, as you guys know, we like to go ahead and wrap up the podcast talking about the sports side of the podcast world. This is the Sportscast, people. What has been going on in the sports world? Well, the Broncos are absolute trash right now. I'm sick of them very much. We lost to the Colts. Daniel Jones is looking like a plus star quarterback. It looks like the Giants may have been failing him because you give him a competent line and some good receivers, Daniel Jones will produce. He is balling out of his mind. Joe Burrow, Joe Shiesty, Joe Brr is now out due to toe turf, which is pretty much a more painful to some people torn ACL, but in the toe is pretty much where the ligaments in your toe are now completely gone. So yeah, he's gonna be sidelined out for 3 months. So if you had him in fantasy, I apologize. But maybe Jamar Chase could still provide, and Chase Brown could still do what they do, even with Browning at the helm. So, Bengals fans, let me know how you're feeling when it comes to that. Seahawks and the Cooper Cup in this new era is looking decent. Cooper Cup still needs to find his way in to show that he really does belong and he could fit in still. Want a back or a with a breakout season, so we are still waiting for that. The Steelers are incompetent. How do you let a kick go into the landing zone and you just walk away and let the Vikings recover and get a touchdown? I believe it was the Vikings, though I may have been wrong. I don't think it was the Vikings they played, but either way, incompetent. Steelers, incompetent. You should have seen the video. He just walked away like it was nonchalant too. It's just dumb. Get him out of here. I couldn't believe he did that. That just mm, 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 mm. Dolphins are looking terrible. Tyreek Hill, you need to get out of there. Drake May is looking good now, finally. Speaking of Vikings, that's why I said I don't believe it was them they played. JJ McCarthy, terrible second game. 3 picks, I believe 2 or 3 fumbles. It was looking rough for him, but we're not going to call it out yet. This is technically his rookie season, so we are still going to let him get into the flow of things, but he is benched for week 3. Carson Wentz is going to be running the helm for the Vikings. Justin Jefferson, if you have him in fantasy, play him now. I know Carson Wentz is going to force feed this man the ball. Trust me, if you're betting, put the whole kitchen sink on Justin Jefferson 100 plus yards. If I'm wrong, it wasn't me who said that. Bills still looking good. The Ravens, Lamar was passing the rock, man. They look good against the Browns, but Derrick Henry will never touch another slip again. This man only had, 22 yards with 11 carries? Yeah, you're done. No touchdowns either. I'm sick. How do you let that happen? Like, how? I'm not going to say nothing. Russell Wilson, you too, you're not spared either. How do you have potentially the game winner, right? And first off, the Giants defense incompetent too. You potentially have the game winner, then the Giants defense folds, then you guys go into OT and you just throw a pick and then lose to the Cowboys. I'm sick. The Giants, you guys are incompetent. Free Malik Neighbors. Start Jackson Dart. That's all I could say there, because that was pitiful. The Chiefs are starting 0-2. The witchcraft is not working no more. This is great. Maybe we need Taylor Swift at the game some more, because this is great so far. Kelsey's distracted. He's upset. Mahomes not playing the best. They have no receivers. Andy Reid, it may be time to hang it up. You have one of the best minds in the league, but it may be time to call it quits. This is what we like to see. But I think that's pretty much it. We talked about everything we had to talk about. I appreciate each and every single one of you guys always for tuning in each and every single Tuesday now to enjoy the podcast, man. Let me know how it sounds. Let me know if this is a better date for you guys. Let me know if this works out good for your schedules. But man, listen, I'm tired of taking up your time. Go enjoy the rest of your day or night. My name has been Quincy, and you've been listening to My Honest Take.